Jesus appeared to me as clearly as if he were standing in my cell. His presence filled that dark space with indescribable light and love. "My son," he spoke directly to my heart, "your story is just beginning. Trust me completely in what comes next." Those words would prove more prophetic than I could have ever imagined. The guards forced me to kneel on the traditional execution mat in the center of the square. The executioner, a massive man in black robes, stood beside me, holding the ceremonial sword that had ended hundreds of lives in this very spot. The blade gleamed brilliantly in the morning sunlight, polished to mirror perfection for this special occasion. The imam began reading the final Islamic verses that condemned apostates, expecting me to repeat them as my last words. Instead, I lifted my face toward heaven and declared loudly enough for the entire crowd to hear, "Jesus Christ, into your hands I commit my spirit." The executioner raised his sword high above my neck, positioning himself for the swift downward stroke that would separate my head from my body. But as the blade began its deadly descent, something impossible happened. Sudden darkness swept across the square, as if someone had switched off the sun itself. A massive sandstorm appeared from absolutely nowhere, with winds reaching 100 miles per hour in a matter of seconds. The clear morning sky vanished behind walls of swirling sand that engulfed the entire execution site. Complete chaos erupted as thousands of people fled in terror, unable to see even their own hands in the supernatural darkness. Guards stumbled blindly, shouting orders that no one could hear above the roaring wind. In that moment of divine intervention, I felt supernatural strength flow through my body as my heavy chains snapped like paper in my hands. This was no natural weather phenomenon. This was God Almighty saving my life. In the supernatural chaos of that miraculous sandstorm, I ran through the blinding darkness with Jesus as my guide. Every step felt divinely directed as I navigated through the panicking crowds and confused security forces. The storm provided perfect cover for my escape, and within minutes I had reached the outskirts of Riyadh, where the winds began to subside.